Hello. The book that I am reviewing this evening is called Housing Reclaimed: Sustainable Homes for Next to Nothing by Jessica Kellner. Let's see if you can see that. I like this book. The reason why I like this book is because it's laid out really, really well. There are chapters about people who have built their own houses. They're first person, so you get a first person perspective, them talking about the housing technique that they used, because all these houses are sort of built in different techniques. Um, the obstacles they came up against, what they learned through this whole building process. And then, of course, there are photos as well. Although, when I first got the book and I opened it up, I saw a bunch of black and white photos and I was totally dismayed. I was like, "Oh my God, these are houses. We've got to have color photos. What are you thinking?" But in the center, there are a lot of color photos of the houses. Not as many as I would like to see. There are a lot of black and white photos. I wish that the publishers had just gone completely color on this book, because I think it's really important to see these houses in color to really get um, the full effect of what they're like. So that's a negative, in my opinion, as far as the book goes. But I'm sure that helped keep the book cost down, which is a plus. And in between the chapters where people are talking about their houses, the author talks about different topics related to using reclaimed materials in housing. Like she talks about a brief history of the housing finance, which sounds kind of boring when you read that, but it's actually very interesting, and it sort of brings us up to date on how we got into the situation that we're in, whereas people are basically paying for houses they can't afford. Um, the economics of reclaimed houses, why it's cheaper and better for the environment for us to start reusing all of the materials that we already have right now in all of the old housing stock, instead of bulldozing those and sending them to the landfill. There are a lot of really, really good chapters in here, really, really good information if you're interested in learning about how to build your own house using salvaged materials, or if you're interested in getting into the deconstruction field, where you're deconstructing houses and then taking those materials and re, rebuilding or building new houses with them. And overall, I just really, really loved this book. I enjoyed this book, and it's well written. It was an easy read. I got through it really, really quick, even though it's like 200 pages, but I'm a slow reader. One of the chapters I really want to talk about is this chapter called "No Debt Newlywed Dream House," and it's about Megan and Aaron Powers of Idaho, who built their own straw bale house, and I just love their story, and I love their house. It's gorgeous. And straw bale houses are not something that I really know a whole lot about, but after reading this book, I feel like I could probably build a straw bale house. I mean, I'd need help, but it sounds like something that, um, well, it's an old way of building houses that is basically being reborn now, refound, rediscovered. And like, look at this house. I don't know if you can see that. That's their house. Isn't that beautiful? Absolutely gorgeous. So, let's see. This book covers a bunch of different kinds of houses and different building techniques. I wouldn't say it goes way into different building techniques, but several building techniques. And they cover some different organizations like Hope Build, what is that called? Um, a really good organization out on the East Coast, Building Hope. That sounds like a really interesting organization, which I actually did a review of on my blog. If you want to go check out my blog, Tiny Houses Hankerings, and it's called Building Hope, the organization. Overall, I really, really recommend this book if you're interested in building your own house, if you're interested in learning about the deconstruction movement, if you're interested in learning how to salvage materials to help you build your own house or even just repair your own house. I think this is a wonderful book. It's well written. The stories from the individual house owners are really inspiring. I highly recommend it. Thanks for watching.